This is Dan from the Urban Chic showroom in Kitsch-n-Kaboodle, and as you can see, I'm working on some replacement trim for the front of a drawer front. This is an applique type of trim where it's made of a rather thick but solid wood type material that originally was partly glued and partly nailed onto the front of a drawer front. And there's a large portion of it missing. So far I've taken it off the drawer front and I've used the shadow or the outline of where the original finish landed against the applique on the drawer front in order to make this template with my tracing paper, which I've now put on top of a piece of scrap wood that I'm going to use to cut out my replacement parts. You can see how this is going to line up here, like so. And what I've done is just to put my template against the wood here. I've got it taped. I'm kind of cheap, so I reused some tape. And I'm just scoring this with, I'm using my larger exacto knife blade, which is actually a bit dull on purpose. And I'm just scoring into the wood right through my template, like so, in order to transfer the pattern. And then once I've got the pattern on the wood, I'll run this through my scroll saw and cut it out, and I'll be one step closer to replacing that trim. Really don't like to see great, really lively kind of fun trim like this go missing off these pieces. So if I can replace it and put back the way it originally was, then I always try to do that. You can see here I'm just kind of dragging my blade right through the paper, making marks into the wood. You can see it's okay to kind of pick it up a little bit as you go, just like that, especially around the rounded parts. It's not really that important if I get it perfect. It's just to get the basic outline and shape of it onto the wood so that I can use that with my saw. Then I don't need to have any kind of extra templates or anything like that when I actually have it in the saw. You'll actually destroy your template as you do this because you're going to cut through it. It'll tear, which is no problem. One other thing you notice as you do this is that the original design was not totally symmetrical. There's some little eccentricities here and there where it doesn't totally line up from side to side, and that's perfectly fine. No one's going to notice that in the finished product. It'll look just perfectly fine. And anyhow, it kind of, in my opinion, adds a little bit of naive charm to it. Makes it look more handmade, more craftsman made if it's not totally perfect. You can see points like here and here. This is not totally the same on these 2 points. But also as you do this, since this is a totally replacement part, you can kind of fuss with it a little bit if you want to make it a little more perfect. Like I'm going to do that right here. Another thing is, as you drag along the wood, your blade will tend to fall more into the pattern of the grain. Like right here, the wood goes this way back and forth with the grain, so that'll be a much easier cut. You can see it doesn't fight me at all. As I go against the grain, like so, or across it, is a little bit more difficult. It might drag a little. And that's perfectly fine. Another thing is, as you do this, when you come to tips like this, it's best to pull out away from the tip, because if I make a cut here, and then if I pull this way, it's going to pull this fine little corner with it, and just, it's worse to tear your template that way. It's easiest if you start over here and drag your blade away like so. You can see I'm kind of rocking out to Artie Shaw as I do this. Puts me in that 1920s, 30s kind of mood to fix the furniture of that period. I really like that a lot. I don't know how much space my memory card has. This is kind of an experimental video. So if it gets cut off or I lose you, well, so be it. I'll do the rest in another part to show you later. But I just wanted to show basically how I do this, because I see a lot of people, they just give up on this kind of trim, take it off, chuck it, and they just don't bother when it's really kind of simple. It's not even really that difficult. You don't have to be any great wood carver or great carpenter in order to repair properly and replace these things. I'm actually using the back of an old drawer for my wood material on this. I didn't even buy wood. I just went looking in my parts bin. I found a piece of wood that was the right thickness, about the right breadth, and then after I cut this out, I'm going to use my rotary tool, my Dremel, and kind of smooth it out and sand it down, and then I'll fine sand it a little bit and fit it to the original part. You can see how I'm doing this. Just basically tracing it with my blade right through the paper. And when I get to the bottom of some place where I can't really bend my arm or my wrist around, then I can come back over from another angle, start at another point and come down to it, like so. Sometimes I might actually pick the board up, flip it around, like so, so that now it's in a comfortable place that I can pull my arm and get the rest of that cut in. I hope you can see that okay if my camera is still in focus. You can actually see a line here where I folded my template in half at one point to try to line it up to see exactly how similar the two sides were. You'd be surprised how different they are from side to side. And when it's on a piece of furniture, it looks symmetrical to you, because when you're looking at it from far away, those tiny eccentricities like that, they just kind of blend in. They either you don't see them, so they're not important, or they will actually add to the character of the piece. So like I said, it doesn't matter if it's slightly different from side to side. It'll look fine. See, that's kind of fighting me, the grain of that right there a little bit. I'm pressing down some as I go, and I'm going very slowly. Like so. Please excuse my ugly, horrible man hands. I know it's not pretty, but it works. You see how my blade is dragging that a little bit? So I'm going to flip this back around and come from the other direction. It's a little uncomfortable, but no pain, no gain. Like so. There's that. Now, where did I miss? Here, I missed this up here. I think I'll come. I want to go from this inside corner here. Start at the inner corners is usually what I do. This has like a slight shape to it, which is kind of lost on the template, but that's okay. And you can tweak it a little bit when you actually start to saw the wood. You can see that's starting to pull a little bit because there's so much separation in the paper now, so I'm going to kind of hold that down with my thumb and pull like this. like I said, you're gonna lose your template. It's gonna kind of get destroyed. You can see what's happening here, which is fine. If I actually peel this up slightly, peel this back, you can see what's happening. Look at how nicely that's scored now. How my pattern has been transferred onto the wood. Oh, look at how great that is. Fantastic. This is going to be great. And that's how you do it. And hopefully in my next video or set of photos, I'll do some before and after and whatnot. I'll throw that together when I do the other parts of it. Thanks for watching.